it comes to a higher stall, I'm just going to go ahead and punch it. You don't have to worry anything about that. It's going to do exactly what you would expect it to do. It just rev to the moon and do its thing. LQ9 power, baby. Welcome back, guys. Today I want to talk to you about how a torque converter or stall converter, whatever you want to call it, works. I have a short that has a bazillion views on it, at least for the scale of my channel, where I kind of talk a tiny bit about how a torque converter works. But I really want to show you, and I'm going to use this truck as an example. So what this is a 6-liter LQ9 hiding under the hood that I threw in this truck. Actually, I installed it. It was painstaking. I didn't throw it in. But anyway, and then it's got a 4L60 still. But the 4L60 is built by a company called Level 10 Transmission in New Jersey. Great guys. Not a sponsor. Wish they were a sponsor. Hit me up, Pat. Anyway, built by Level 10 in New Jersey. And they did a shift kit and clutches and all that crap. But they also did a high stall torque converter. And you might be asking yourself, what the heck does that even really mean? You hear these terms thrown around, you have some drag racer guy or whatever it is talking about how they've got XYZ torque converter and this stall, and it's a loose converter, it's a tight converter. What does all that crap mean? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So what we're going to do is I'm going to drive around a little bit, get this thing warm. I'm on my way to work today because I still have a real job. But once we do that, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna drive around, get the truck a little bit warm, and I'm gonna show you guys in long format how a torque converter works, how a stall converter works, again, whatever you wanna call it. What is the difference between the two? Absolutely nothing. Typically, people call an aftermarket torque converter a stall converter, and people call a stock torque converter a torque converter. Why that is, I don't know. So, what you're also doing with the torque converter is you are absorbing the impacts created by revving the engine, right? So if you're at 1,000 RPM and then you punch it and you go to 6,000 RPM, if you're in a standard transmission car, you feel that connection and you get some jerking motions, and it's not the smoothest experience. You as the driver have to smooth that drive line out. You have to hit the hit the pedal more smoothly and shift smoothly and all that stuff. What the torque converter is doing is kind of eating some of that impact, so that as your automatic transmission does the shifting for you, you're not feeling those shock waves nearly as much. And if you have a hard enough shifting automatic, you'll still feel it. But a torque converter, and there's better videos to explain this, but I'll give you a real high level, is just a fluid coupler. So you actually have hydraulic fluid, transmission fluid, running through this device, right? And the flow counteracts itself in impellers. So basically you have a set of impellers spinning the fluid one way, and then you have a kind of like a catch side, for lack of a better term. Again, there's people that can explain this better than I can, but that are going in the reverse direction, and they basically kind of catch that fluid and essentially fully stop it from spinning in the direction the initial impellers turned it. And then by doing that, it creates motion in the torque converter, and then therefore, powers the input shaft of the truck. You do get a, few hundred RPM slip at any given time at higher RPMs. You might find that your torque converter is at, say, 3,500 RPM, the input side, the engine side of the torque converter, and the actual transmission side, the input to the transmission, is at, say, only 3,300. So you've got a 400 RPM difference. That's kind of a lot, but let's just say you do. What's great about that is that you can actually build more torque. You can actually multiply torque a little bit, because now you've got the torque that the engine has at 3,700, even though the transmission input speed's only, say, 3,400. And that's really great for towing. If you have like a 4-speed transmission like this truck does, you can kind of eat up some of the disadvantages of the 4-speed because your stall is higher. And it just helps out a lot. So I just said that term, because your stall is higher. What I mean by that is your stall speed is basically it's not quite this, but it's basically the speed that if you mash the brake and mash the gas, I'm not saying you should do this, by the way, but if you were to do that, whatever RPM your revs just sit at, that's your stall speed. And then the second the tires start to break free, you're now above your stall speed, because now you're actually turning the tires, right? So if and I'm not going to do this because I'm just at a red light in the city, but I got my foot on the brake and you can see how that's revving up and I'm not going anywhere. My stall speed's higher than, 1200 RPM. That's why I wasn't going anywhere and I wasn't pushing through the converter. Now, a big thing you got to keep in mind is even a very high stall torque converter will still move as long as you're under low enough load at a lower speed. So if you have a 2500 RPM stall torque converter, which is what I have in this, you can still drive around under 2500 RPM very easily. It's just that if you punch it a little bit, you can see how it kind of jumps up to 2500, and I'm sitting at 2500 and just increasing speed, and I'm not shifting, and I'm not really moving RPM. Now I just shifted, of course. But the thing that's important to note about that, and if you'll notice, I was sitting at like 2200 and then it kind of crawled to 2500, but I gained like 30 miles an hour of speed. Well, that's because with a 2500 stall, depending on how much power your engine makes, you may not actually reach that stall. So because this is just a stock LQ9, nothing super powerful, if I kind of get it to flare, if I punch it, like if I stick this in third, okay, I'm at like 2400 RPM, so let me slow down. So just naturally, the truck's at like 2000 RPM at 55, right? If I just give it like half throttle, see how it jumps like that? That's because I'm coming up to my stall speed in third and it just sits there. Now we're increasing RPM. So basically what's happening is, it's just sitting there. Now I won't want to shift because it gets grumpy when I do that. But anyway, basically what's happening is, if it were a standard, in that scenario, I'd be at 2000 RPM. And then it would just slowly accelerate. But because I have a 2500 stall, when I punch it, it flashes, what they call flashes, to 2500 and then sits there until the gear ratio of the transmission catches up to that RPM, and all of a sudden it now needs more engine RPM to actually achieve whatever speed I'm trying to go. So now that we're in overdrive and I'm going 70, I'm torque converter locked up, so those clutches are locked in at 1800 RPM. Now, unfortunately on this truck, there's no way for me to get the clutches to just unlock, so you can kind of see that slip. But take my word for it, if I could get the clutches to just unlock, it would jump to about 2000 RPM. It wouldn't be much difference. But if I give it enough throttle to actually get it to downshift, I'm slowly tipping into it. Boom, third gear, and we're at 3000, not in lockup. That's fourth gear, non-locked up. Or that's fourth gear lockup, sorry. So that kind of gives you an idea of how that works. A lot of people ask, is it really terrible to drive a high stall, vehicle with a high stall torque converter? Well, I would say this. It depends what you consider high stall. I don't consider 2500 high stall. Some people might, like off-roaders and stuff might. So that's the thing, right? If you're off-roading, you might not want it, because if you're crawling all the time, like a rock crawler off-roading, then you're going to be constantly revving the engine a little bit higher to get moving, and that might be annoying. If you're towing a trailer, you don't want a super high stall, because you do add a little bit of transmission temperature, because you have that shear force and the fluid's a little bit higher. 2500 is a great blend, in my opinion, between stall speed and stall speed to keep it low because it's a truck, but high enough that you can help eat up some of the high gear ratio that this truck has, 342, and just the negatives of a 4L60, 4L60 isms also, where the first gear to second gear split is really big and stuff like that. Because when you're towing with this truck, any amount of kind of fake gear ratio you can get via this torque converter makes a huge difference. I want to mention too, when you're just cruising around on the highway at 70 miles an hour kind of thing, 70, 80, you won't notice, as long as you have a lockup converter, you will not notice any difference. Whatever your gear ratio is and your top gear in your transmission, you're just going to sit at that RPM and chug along. It's not going to matter that much. When you are going to notice it is when you downshift and when you are, kind of towing or using the vehicle in a sportier way if it's a car. That's when you're going to notice the stall difference potentially. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull over up here and I'm going to show you kind of what this looks like from a dead stop. So I'm pulled over. You'll have to, don't mind my flashers. I just want to leave them on until these cars get by. But what I'm gonna show you when this truck gets by is so you can see I'm moving. And I'm at like 1,800 RPM. So you might be saying to yourself, wow, well your stall is only 1,800. Yes and no. The problem is this is a tight torque converter. So what you'll see when I go to accelerate into traffic here, watch it when I punch it a little bit. I might spin the tires. See how that flashes to like 2,200? That is because the stall, even though it's at 25, the engine's not powerful enough to get it to flash immediately. Now I didn't punch it. I didn't go full throttle because it's wet out and I would just spin the tire. That was like half throttle. So it would flash a little bit higher if I had really been able to give it the full beans. And if you have a trailer on and you were to give it a full beans, don't do that. But if you were, that would make it flash a little higher. However, this converter does typically start off from a dead stop at about 2,200 RPM, even though it's a 2,500 stall. Now, if you, again, I'll do this downshifting deal. If I now in third gear give it half throttle, whoops, that'll jump right to like 2,500. So I don't know if you noticed that, but I was in torque lockup in third gear for a second there. So let's see if we can mimic that again. So this is, let's go back down to 50. So now my torque converter's locked, okay? So the clutches are engaged. If I punch it a little bit, see how it unlocks and it flashes at 2,500? It holds, and then it increases. So you can see three things happening there. You've got clutches locked up at 2,000-ish RPM. Then you kick the throttle, unlocks the clutches, so now you have third gear slip at 2,500 stall. Then it starts to take off and increase RPMs as your gear ratio goes up. Second and third gear in a 4-speed is where you're gonna notice the torque converter the most. Those are also your two gears where you're doing the most driving in. You're doing the most towing in, you're doing the most kind of like passing in and stuff like that. And that's why a 2,500 stall gives you such a nice blend of streetable daily driver performance and a little bit more hot rod performance, for lack of a better term, for when you're doing activities that require the engine's power, much more readily available. Now we're just stuck at a red light, and I just want to accelerate as normal and just show you guys how normal this thing shifts. You're not going to notice really any difference day-to-day driving. And even if you bump this to a 3,000 stall, this guy's cruising. But you're not going to notice much of a difference. So we're just accelerating as you normally would. Even your RPMs aren't going to look that funny. Again, you can see that RPM hang right now as we just burn through mile an hour. We're getting up to 2,500 and now it really starts to climb. So it's pretty linear when you're at quarter, half throttle from 2,200 up. So if you didn't know any better, you'd say this is like a 2,200 stall. And the way that they rate torque converters is they typically rate the stall at a given horsepower level for all the aforementioned reasons. So like if you have a 400 crank horsepower engine, your stall is X amount. That's kind of typically how they do it. And even that's not a perfect way to do it because that 400 horsepower engine might make a different amount of torque. It might make torque in a different RPM band. It might be super high, big cam in it, a little cam in it, all that kind of stuff. So the thing with torque converters is, stall converters, you're never gonna really know exactly what you're getting until you put it in. And I hate to tell you that because it sucks that you can't really fully do your research and be like, this is exactly what I want and what I'm gonna get. But there's a little bit of wizardry. So that's where it comes down to knowing people who've got more experience than you, more experience than me, because I don't have a lot of experience with it. But watching videos like this and just saying to yourself, okay, in real life, this is the engine trans combo, this is how it's gonna react. And what I can tell you from my experience is my 5.3 LM7 that I had in front of this before, actually an L59, doesn't matter, even though that's quite a bit less powerful than this LQ9, the torque converter acted pretty similar. I mean, it probably, real world wasn't that noticeably different RPM flash-wise. So you really need to have a gross difference in power to notice a big difference in torque converter performance. And there will be a threshold, right? If the torque converter was spec'd to that engine power well, and you put a really powerful engine behind it, so you'll either not notice any difference, or if it's so powerful, you might blow through the converter, and you'll actually have it flash too high and it gets really loose. So, you know, from a dead stop, it just sits at 3,000 RPM, which for your daily driver, you probably don't want, and things like that, right? So if you're talking drag racing vehicles where you've got a 4, 5, 6,000 RPM stall, that's a different ball game, right? If you're gonna build a dragster, you wanna get into that horsepower band as quick as you can. And a lot of times you're rocking a 2-speed or a 3-speed. So any amount of RPM slip you can get and get your gear ratios down, your rear end ratio, your transmission ratios, you're gonna be in good shape. So those cars tend to run super high stalls, and they've also got really high performance cam or high RPM cam, so you're not making power. You know, you're not on the chip until you hit like 4,000 RPM, whereas this truck is on the chip at 1,800, you know, because you got the big 6-liter in her. So you gotta kind of keep all that in mind too. But I think I've rambled on long enough, guys. As always, thanks for watching. God bless America, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.